Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers, beautiful companions of light. So welcome to my video update on cosmic convergence. What is really cosmic convergence? So recently I posted and I published for all those of you who really want to get deeper into your cosmic self-mastery and in the understanding of cosmic principles and seeing how everything is intertwined in creation in this beautiful web of as above, so below, and how everything is playing out now in creation from micro to micro, and how this and our planet Earth is very important in terms of what's happening and what's happening in a greater scheme of things within our universe that is shifting to a new level, because it is all much grander than most of us think. So I actually gathered a lot of information and my own automatic writings from years of experiencing through my own I Am Presence and what have been shared through the collective of my oversoul. And I really wanted to offer this to those of you who really feel called to move a step further in your cosmic self-mastery. So what's really cosmic convergence is almost like if you're trying to understand how when the energy that's been almost like seeded for a certain outcome, a certain destiny, for a certain anchoring within a certain consciousness, exploration and expansion, and then within that frame of that intention, there's also something that happens that's unpredicted, that is mysterious, that is a part of the learning experience. So almost like, you know, scientists, and also within certain channelings that are being offered to us at this time, it's being shared how this life in the universe actually began as, you know, out of nothing. It was actually coincidental. And in truth, everything, how it's expanding, it's really so mysterious to us. When we look outside in the stars and we look within the grander nature of the galaxies and how they comprise a whole universe, and how there's even a term such as a multiverse. What is that? How can we even grasp on that? And a lot of that is already coming through our science, but there's also a truth that is much deeper, that is engraved within our DNA. So as we came to Earth to experience this earthly reality, there was many things happening, and there was many stories playing out in creation. And those of us who have this knowing on a greater level, and especially those who were always involved within the creation of planets and planetary consciousness so that it can expand and evolve and ascend to these ascending worlds, and how the ascending worlds are actually moving into graduation and completion, and how this takes place, we have a deeper perspective on this. As you know, a lot of beings who are going through this ascension and awakening, awakening starts your ascension process, are probably asking themselves, and they're receiving different downloads from their different multidimensional aspects, and they can't always, that's the word convergence, is to merge all into unity. It's to bring all the aspects so that they actually make divine sense. So when we're starting to converge on our path, it's almost like we start to feel that knowing without the need to know. It's almost like a knowing that is so primal to our own soul expansion that it takes us on a journey. It takes us on a journey where we wish to explore more about divine principles of creation, about the universal nature of everything, universal principles that are the main pillars of all creation. So the sacred law, the divine law that permeates everything. So as I've been going through this journey for many years, there were so many things popping and coming in different time sequences, and there was much that I really wanted to share with all of you on my YouTube channel, and yet sometimes Spirit said, well, it's not time yet, and I knew that I have to trust this process. But now when we're moving into this great expansive shift, I felt it for those who are especially called, this is now really coming out. So what I wanted to do with this is bring all these aspects in a very simple nature, kind of like together. Because I've never been a fan of long texts, long documents, long piles of information, because in truth information is just that, it's just information, it's not truth in its own. And as you also know in the law of hermetics, it's already known that all truths are actually partial because of the polarized nature in our creation. So everything that we perceive will always be individualized. And when we become this initiate of creation to understand more, we actually have to begin with ourselves. So our journey in our soul expansion is not how to know more about the universe without knowing more about ourselves. It's actually the knowing of that grander scheme of things takes place through the knowing of the self. So that's why I really am being called to further advance this path that I was on for years now into a path of self-mastery and a more cosmic perspective to those of you who really feel called. And I always felt such deep passion for this. I always had this immense knowledge, and I knew that even though, you might hold this knowledge for others until they awaken it within themselves. And because all knowledge and truth, when it is wisdom, it needs to be experiential. So it depends where your soul has traveled and what its main dominant nature was. So in my journey, I started to remember many different things, and as they started to converge within me, they started to make more sense on a greater level. So what I call cosmic convergence is almost like all the timelines, all the multidimensional realities, everything merging together and becoming synthesized within you, and that is what cosmic convergence is. So if you can imagine things playing out on a level, let's take on a level of the star systems, there's these archetypes, there's these main schools of mastery on each of those levels, and there's also at the same time unfolds on a planetary level and then on a much personal level such as we experience on our human level, and yet all these levels are one. So convergence, cosmic convergence, is when you can experience yourself on all these levels, and even though your consciousness right now is mainly anchored here where you are now, and that's why being in the now is so important, because you cannot converge without fully being present in your reality where you are now. And although there is no time, there also is time in a sense that we know it. So working with time on an aspect that is fully human in terms of awareness, enlightened awareness, is very important. So during this exploration, I wanted to bring in the aspects of knowing more about the nature of realities and time construct and the evolution of our consciousness in a very simple matter. Like I said, I've always been a fan of things being simple, condensed, and yet profound. So also what's important to address here is that in the previous ages, we've already been trying to ascend through the mind. As you know, the great experiment called Atlantis, it failed because our main ascension was the mind. We cannot only ascend through one aspect of us, because we need to activate both our divine logic, our divine mind, and our divine sacred heart. So this ascension at this time is very important because it's heart ascension, and yet that doesn't mean what we have gathered in the previous cycles, it's now in need to be put aside, because that already was there for a reason, and we've learned from it and we grew from it, and that's what cosmic convergence is all about. It's the synthesis of all this, of our galactic heritage, of our own galactic signature within this great cosmic play that's been unfolding for so long. And as many of you feel that this great game is completing in a sense, but that doesn't mean that for those who still wish to play it, it will be complete, but it will be complete for those who are converging, who are ascending in a way to this aspect that is fully anchored in the presence and this greater activation of consciousness that overlaps everything, all this, all that was, all that will be, all that is, and knowing that everything that's playing out, it's always for this great divine purpose that we don't always feel we understand. A lot of this is not always conscious, it's also subconscious, and yet it's resurfacing, and it's convoluting and it's converging. So that's the word Spirit has given me, it's the cosmic convergence. So with this in mind, what was taking place in the previous ages and that which failed was that we've been going through certain extremes, but that wasn't only happening on our own level, where we are as an Earth experiment. I would call it experience rather, because experiment sounds so instrumental, right? And it happened on a greater star system level as well, on different planets within those systems and constellations. And this means that what's happening now on Earth, it's almost like a gathering together of all those different systems and archetypes. And for those of us who are moving into this convergence, this means that it will be synthesized. We will be returning to that unity, but not without integrating what already was and all these experiences. So the previous cycles are also important. They're part of us. Everything is a part of our galactic nature. It's how we were learning. It's how we were expanding. It's how we grow and move on. Our pioneering nature of the soul that yearns to thrive through its passion and always explore for more, always reach for that which at the moment sometimes it might feel unreachable, and yet it's not. Because when the divine timing and this cosmic moment comes, you know, it will be potent and we will know. So that's the nature of the soul. It's this beautiful knowing, this centeredness. And a lot of people sometimes tell me that they love my messages because they're so timely. They receive them in synchronistic time, which means that they're interactive. That whatever they receive them, that's when they have meaning and purpose for them. It's because they come through that core nature of our core self, of the soul self. So when you learn to converge within yourself, you will become just the same. Everything you will ripple out, everything you will be giving out of yourself will be reflected back to you, and it will become interactive. Your whole life will seem like a hologram of something much greater, and it won't feel like a matrix or imprisonment. It will feel like something much greater. And that's the whole nature of cosmic convergence, is to bring us back to our galactic core, to align us with the galactic core of our Milky Way universe, to the grand central sun, and to make us become once again these humans that are so centered, you know, so connected with this galactic heritage that we can always walk this way in our conscious presence. So I'm also going to be offering readings, which are going to be your individual galactic signature readings that will be comprised of many things, such as some of the basic astrology, some of the degrees that are important, some of the Sabian symbols and what they mean for you personally, as well as your personal galactic heritage within the journey of your soul, but through the archetypes that are important for you right now. So this means your synthesis. And for those of you interested and want to be activated on a very deep soul level, this will be available from now on. So please stay updated and check that out, because I will be posting and I will be announcing it. And what's also important I want to say here is when we start this conversion process, it almost feels like everything of the external, because like I've said in the previous ages, we already wanted to do that. Now through this age of information, a lot of beings are always seeking for more information, to know more in order to be enlightened, to know more, to understand what's happening more in this new age, and instead of just going back to the basics, to the earth, to the very core of the simplistic nature of creation, which already holds all the laws, all the divine geometry, all the sacred principles that are held within every tiny spectacle, you know, every tiny stone to a big mountain. So it's all a mirror. And when we go back to that simplistic root, to our I amness, when we just simply affirm I am, it's when we will be actually aligning with this core energy of ours, because the soul has its own core energy, and I've already talked about this with our core creation self. And then when we start to move out into creation experience, we create this crystalline energy, and then we create other forms of energy, and then we come into this rainbow energy. And as we come back to this synchronization and into a convergence, we start to move along that spiral, and it's still, it was there as an experience. We need all those particles of the rainbow, otherwise we wouldn't advance in such a way, and life in creation wouldn't advance. And that's why everything is always in movement, in flux, and you know, in creation. And yet we kind of combine that and synthesize it when we're ready for completion to enter a new level. And a lot of us, it's where we are, and this planet, it's where it is, and we will feel that in our own unique way. So it's important at this time to drop anything that it's not really crucial for our ascension path, because a lot of information we're receiving, let's face it, it's just information. It's not really triggering us at a core level. It's mental. We're used to reading so much. We're used to getting updates. We're used to following other people, what others are saying, what they're discussing, what they're saying about ascension, this and that. And there's so much of this that our heart sometimes is overwhelmed, and our aura it has too much information, and that's why sometimes we say, I'm not receiving guidance, and yet you feel you need more to seek it from without, and you're constantly thirsty, and you're constantly searching for more and seeking, and always spinning in that loop like a hamster in a wheel, right? So what's really taking place is the need to just attune back to the sacred pulse of light within the galactic center. For now, this is 26 to 70 degrees Sagittarius. This is where we are, this is where we're traveling. It's a rather long period because these galactic cycles are huge in comparison to what we know as maybe only one lifetime that we have. And yet, each lifetime is already held within that greater cycle and vice versa. So to be in cosmic convergence, what I feel for that is to be in awe of many, many parts of you that you're not maybe are consciously living now, but they're part of you. And when you attune to that, when you converge, you can embody any kind of ray of consciousness that wants to flow through you. You can attune to any multidimensional aspect of you. You're always going to transmit and emit the codes that are necessary for the greater advancement and to serve creation in pure benevolence within the law of one. So the law of the divine law. Also, this means that we're going to be embracing our self-mastery more because we're going to be seeking that information from outside of us a lot less. And for many, that will be hard to do because they like to cling on. They like the old and familiar, and they think they're not going to ascend if they don't know it, they don't have all the data, and yet it's already within your DNA. So how will you activate it if you're constantly bombarding yourself from something external? So it's really back. In a way, convergence is a part of you moving back to your root self, your primal creation nature self, and just feeling how you already are in the knowing of what you need to know. Sometimes our souls have chosen a particular journey, and let's say our mind wants us to be somewhere else, and we're saying, why am I not receiving this guidance or that like other people are? And maybe that's just not your rite of passage. This means it's not for you. It means your soul needs to know, and it does know what it needs on this journey right now. And that's what I call a lot of times that people say in a dualistic term that what they feel they like and it triggers them and advances them is divine guidance. When they feel they're not moved to make a next step, they don't know always what to do, is the dualistic nature of ours, how it was for now, was thinking, well, I'm not being guided. And now we need to realize that even that is a part of guidance, even not knowing, even pausing, even thinking you're not guided to make the next step, is we're needing to embrace that convolution of everything and the dropping the need to know, to always know everything, and to return back to the knowing that is so pure, that is so divine, that is not rational to the human brain, but it makes sense in a way that you will just feel. So for me, cosmic convergence is something that really starts to take place within you. So even though my video workshop is full of information, if you're perceiving it with the mind, if you're not doing your own studies and initiating yourself into this higher wisdom, then it will just remain information. So I invite you to become more masterful, to really trust yourself more, that you are the one who will know what source of information you need to trigger you, to offer you something that will activate and spark up something within you, and what's there just because you're used to it. Maybe you're used to always getting the same newsletters in your email box, or you're used to reading always the same information from the same people, and let's say your soul no longer needs that. And you will know because it doesn't bring you joy anymore. It will feel blank. It will feel like empty energy. I always know when something doesn't serve me, it's not necessarily bad. People think that just negative things are bad. It's not true. The negative is that which we've created in a way that it seems negative. But it can also be something that's just, it's just stagnant. It's just empty. You no longer have anything to co-create with. So for us to know what serves us is to know what brings us passion. That will always have a level of aspect of that co-creation energy within it. And what doesn't will feel like blank. It will feel almost like no energy charge is there. There's no magnetism. And that magnetism and electricity as one, because they always work in through the polarization law of masculine and feminine principles, that everything is polarized and it has gender in a way, then that's necessary for us. So what I would like to say here is it's really time to get back to our root, to stop seeking so much outside of us, because I see sometimes there's a lot of people still constantly sitting online and behind Facebook and reading what other people are posting, and just, you know, cosmic convergence means that it's time for us to act. This means that action means to anchor your own knowledge, to share your own divine codes, to spark up the whole, because imagine that you have something that nobody else has. And when you start to align with that, the whole of the reality is richer just because you got activated. So it's important at this time to become activated, because this is no longer a time of being passive. You know, 2012, 21st of December is already over. This is when this, it was almost like this intersection, and now these timelines are moving, they're converging into one, and this is the part when we will become fully self-responsible and conscious in terms of navigating our journey, because destiny will no longer feel like fate. It will be something that you and only you can be in charge of. And this is what I mean, get activated, know about things, learn about your astrology, you know, just learn about your own nature, because memory will start to be coming back, not in a way that you will know all of it, because you still need this body to, as an ascension pioneer, help others as they're passing to this higher density and embracing the path of ascension, and you're helping them in your own way to move into this transition age. And at the same time, that's why you need your body. You need to be in your physicality, so being grounded in what activates you. And that's what I mean, this living of your passion. So for me, cosmic convergence is not something that happens up here, and I might have so much knowledge, and I have so much knowledge, but if I never use my tools, if I don't really utilize them, if I don't know how, then I'm not really doing anything. So creation is not expanding. So creation expands through love. You know, light is information, and through love, which is creativity, we're going to move that energy forward. So it's time kind of to kick ourselves right in the butt and start to get activated, to get grounded, because sometimes I see beautiful people who have these almost like idealistic perspectives on things, you know, like what's real and what's ideal, but what's right here and now. You know, we all sometimes have this utopian world, this dream paradise vision within us, and yet we also need to start embracing where we are now, because a lot of us are denying where we are now because we're not liking certain aspects of creation. There's only completion of your true unity love, the quantum level of yourself, which is just pure existence. You know, it's not always easy to imagine how this is. I mean, we can't even imagine it as a human. But when we think about this, we start to realize that when we get to the quantum level, everything is perfect, everything just is, and we need to start embracing where we are now. That's what we need, the understanding, a greater understanding of what's taking place on our planet and beyond, because it is all interconnected, and the pieces of the puzzle coming together now on the planet are also part of the greater star lineages and star themes unfolding. And, you know, join the course if you want to know more about this. So this is what I wanted to share here. If you want to be a part of those galactic signature readings, I invite you to make contact. And until next time, stay connected, get activated. As always, so much love, wisdom, and power. I love you all so much. Bye-bye for now. Bye. Now let us take a moment to truly tune into our hearts and feel what the cosmic convergence means for us. Can we let go of anything that we feel that we need at this time, and just know that our needs are met when we breathe as one with the grand central sun, the cosmic center of our home nature? Can we return to the galactic core and merge all the principles of creation by living the law, the divine law, the law of one? So imagine that you are a space traveler and you're making a journey. You're making a beautiful journey of the soul. And that your soul has been many places, it has seen and tried many different things, had many adventures. And now imagine a state where all of these beautiful adventures are there to help you to remember what is your true nature. What is your home vibration? What is your home signature? What is your core creation self? Now imagine yourself immersing from the great spiral of the cosmic womb. There is an opening happening within the center of our galaxy, and you emerge from there. And you feel like you re-emerge as your new self, And you feel that your cosmic master within you is calling you. That creation is calling you, that where you are now, your environment, nature is calling you. And as you start to embrace your galactic signature more and more, you feel that simplicity starts to guide you. And this doesn't mean that you forget about your previous soul stories and adventures, but you synthesize them, you merge them into one synthesized whole. In that whole, you already have all the knowledge of all your experiences, and yet this knowledge is now crystallized through wisdom. It is fully intact with where you need to be, and you allow, through the alignment of your I am, the I am that I am, which you know that you are, roots you back into your center, where any need and anything that is not your true desire of your core self just simply dissolves, without you needing to try hard and make an effort or suffer for it. Just simply embracing yourself as a cosmic traveler who travels along the spiral of great cosmic love. To know yourself only as that love, to allow yourself that passion fills your every step, that every step you thread is golden white. And now, as a cosmic initiate, you offer your passion to the world at large, through every spectacle of creation, through every atom, through every nucleus, through every resonant particle that comprises all that is. Now imagine yourself being birthed as a unique nebula, full of gaseous material, which is nothing but an expression of love when it starts to alchemize. Now imagine as you're being birthed, you're expanding into this infinite space where all the divine potential of spirit is already held within your unique nebula. Your own cosmic birth. Come back to that birth. Allow yourself to converge. Allow yourself to simply experience yourself as a tiny little spectacle, a dot within a circle full of divine potential, full of spirit. Just simply embrace that. Speak the words, I am. Feel the divine birth and the purpose that it has within the greater scheme of things, and that it serves within great creation. And now offer yourself as you descend back from your origin. Offer yourself as the gift of creation back to creation. And know yourself as simply purely divine.